Good morning. I'm Jim Rosa, and I've been asked to share why we pledge. And so I note first that stewardship is most often, has a lot of emphasis, as it should, on our treasure. But I am pleased that in this parish, for example, Dan's letter helped show this, for example, that time and talent are also spoken to and asked for. So I would just note that, and it's important for me to mention that, because whether it's being a server or helping cook for winter shelter, going out and picking produce at the First Fruits Farm, any number of things, we do that because the answer to why do you do it is because it's rewarding. It also gives us an opportunity to share with our fellow church members and to feel of service. So I'm going to, for a minute, shift to reading so I don't muddle my words too badly, but you'll see that I'm going to come back to a key term I just mentioned. As for treasure, I'll draw a parallel to discuss why Donna and I pledge. We have always given to the church, but the challenge for us was determining how much we could afford. But through the last 20 years or so, we started pledging because it was actually easier to think ahead for the year and figure out how much we should put in our offering each Sunday. As we discussed that annual giving level, it led us to examine how much of a contribution made sense within our own budget, but also given the church's needs. We found ourselves through the years working up toward a biblical portion, especially when we discovered, if you will, that increasing each year didn't seem to hurt as much as the sense of doing right by returning to the Lord a generous portion of what we had been provided. We also found that even when we kept increasing our pledge, there was always enough left over for dealing with the rest of our financial needs. Even when there was a year with extra big expenditures or drops in income, like when we moved here a couple years ago, bought a house, renovated it, and all those kinds of things, we found there was always enough to see us through. The thought developed that you could say, in a way, our generosity paid off, as opposed to leaving us short in the other areas of our life. To be clear, it isn't really something where you can say there's a one-for-one payback in any direct sense. Yet, despite some concerning moments, big unexpected expenses, for example, we also never found ourselves financially going downhill. Go figure, right? We came to fervently believe our pledging was being rewarded by God's generosity. I also want to speak just a little bit about how we choose to pledge, because for quite a few years, we've used the monthly payment by ACH system. We found it to be a helpful choice because all of us handle our finances differently, but this one is pretty hassle-free. It's paid out monthly, it goes out like the mortgage, and we don't have to make decisions or think a lot about it. I would note that we do pray about it, but mostly we pray when we're trying to establish what it should be, and then we give thanks every Sunday with the doxology. So we're in the matter of prayer on this. And one other point about pledging, I have in some years served on vestries, and one of the wonderful opportunities vestry members get is to plan a budget. And if you're planning a budget and you don't know what your pledge base is, and again, Dan and others have mentioned this in his stewardship letter, for example, if you don't know what the pledge level is, it's really tough. You have to create what-if budgets and decrements and all those kind of things. And so if we all decide to get our pledges in early and clearly, then the vestry has a much better and easier time trying to figure out how to budget for the year. So with that, I just encourage you to consider pledging if you're not doing it.
Thank you, Jim. I love his framing of that one of the things that the wonderful opportunities that the vestry has is to plan the budget. Do you like that, vestry? It's a wonderful opportunity.